Kelly Orchard's podcast for successful badassery. Mustang Monday. Fast cars, fun chats, and badass business and personal tips from the streets. Driving home a positive message with interviews conducted in Kelly's 2006 Mustang.
So, hey everybody, Kelly Orchard here. Kelly Orchard here in the car in Mustang Monday. I am the Badass Certifier, and sitting with me is another badass, Virginia Earl from Seven Mystic Rings,
Yes,
right? And then I know you have another business, and I don't want to butcher the name. What is the other?
Translations Unlimited South America, and I've had that one for over 25 years.
What is that? Translations Unlimited?
So we do writing, editing, proofreading, and translating documents from English to European, Asian, and South American and Middle Eastern languages.
So you're multilingual?
Well, yes. I don't know, obviously, all those languages. I have subcontractors who help me.
Awesome. Yeah. Very interesting business.
Yeah.
That's
love it.
so
Yeah.
different. I've never really considered,
I love the detail, and it sort of provides like a little balance. With the other business.
Okay, so let's talk about your other business. Okay, so now Virginia and I met, I'm going to say, I remember distinctly the very first time we shook hands, and it was at a chamber function, at a luncheon, and you introduced, and I was there on a mission. I had to meet up with somebody, not hook up, we don't want to say hook up anymore, do we?
No.
I wanted to meet up with somebody because I was planning a ribbon cutting, and I met you, and I shook your hand, and you told me what you do, and my first thought was, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So tell me about Seven Mystic Rings.
So, Seven Mystic Rings offers, I guess you can call it, let's be honest, psychic services. I'm clairvoyant and a medium. And basically, I help my clients identify any blockages that they're experiencing, the why behind the blockages, and to provide them clarity and guidance using a very antique, I shouldn't say antique, ancient tool. Yeah.
I've recently, because I
It
like
goes
to,
all the way to the pharaohs.
and I'd love to do my research before I even talk to somebody. So I've done a little homework on that. So I've actually booked a session with you for after this.
Thank you.
I figured that
Very excited.
I am really excited too, because I've never done this before. So I'm going to experience something that I've never done before. But I've been having some of my own experiences that I wanted to kind of like inquire about. And so when I learned about what you do, I thought, okay, well, that's interesting. And I saw you hesitate when you said, well, for all intents and purposes, it's psychic readings.
Yeah,
but
because some people get scared
Gave-
about that term, and they're not really well versed in what I do. So I help my clients identify any blockages they're experiencing in their relationships, their career, their business, their finances, anything that has to do with their emotional blockages. So our emotional blockages are the core of everything. So if we're experiencing any blockages in any aspect of our lives, that has a ripple effect to everything else all around us, including our family and friends and everything else.
Well, and I liken it too, and I love that, and I liken it too. It's like, well, I'm a psychotherapist, so I delve into emotional blockages as well, but just on a different way, different method. And so, the reason I became a psychotherapist was because I had a health crisis that derailed my whole life. Right. And part of my process to heal was I learned about mind, body, spirit. Right. When all three work together, things go well. Yeah. So I take care of mind stuff. You are spirit.
Correct.
And so it works together. So, and so I love that you explained it this way. So thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we kind of both do the same thing, but in a different way.
methods.
We use different modalities.
Right. Exactly. And sometimes one might lead to the other, because I'm not going to disclose anything about my clients, but I will say sometimes I'll have a client that'll say, so I went to my psychic and they said, and I don't laugh at them. I mean, we talk about it because.
Oh, you actually do have clients who tell you that? Oh,
sometimes yes, sometimes sure.
Send me some.
Maybe I will. It's like, you never know. But you also are an author.
Yes.
And I would love to learn more about your books as well.
So 2020, thank you. 2020 wasn't that bad after all. It sort of like pushed me in a different direction. And it pushed me in the sense that there was a lot of stuff even before the pandemic that I really wanted to work on, but I was like dragging my feet, procrastinating, and finding every excuse under the sun to not do it, like going out for dinner with friends, let's go to the wineries, anything that I could, that would prevent me from moving forward with what I actually wanted to do. So I was asked to edit the first book, All Women Rock.
And where can they get this book? Where is it sold at?
Through Amazon.
Through Amazon. Okay, so
Yeah,
and it's called All Women Rock, a series of inspirational life journeys.
Correct.
And you're part of this. And so you edited this also. Not only did you
Yes,
contribute
I edited.
something, you also did, and it's a very beautifully done too.
This is a little treasure, and it has some amazing stories from some amazing women. And
Well, I'm sure that some of our audience would love to read that as well. You know, it's like we can definitely. I love promoting some of those things.
And the one thing I discovered as I was editing this is their stories.
Right.
And I treated each story as if it were mine. So I took my time working with all the co-authors to make sure that their voice was still in there.
So is this something you really want to pursue more of? Doing more of this kind of work?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of fear sometimes out there with, okay, I want to write a book. Well, how do I go about writing a book? How do I identify the subject of my book? We have so many moments in our lives that are catalyst moments in our lives that change us, and those are the moments that are difficult to go to and pull the stuff out. So that's where I want to combine my spiritual gifts with pulling those moments out. Yeah.
Just taking what your gifts already are and expanding them into something greater.
Identify basically the writer's block.
I have a feeling. Okay, I just got like a chill because we're going to be working together because I am a writer, you know. But I've written many self-help books. I have my Kelly Orchard's Apple a Day. My first book
I love that name.
Yes, my first book is Heart Lessons, but really, what I want to write are novels, not necessarily self-help.
Yeah.
And so I have I have some conceptual ideas on how to put them all together, and everything else. But the thing is that what I think the point is that we as writers, because I am a creative, we also need guidance.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and so I think the message here for me would be constantly seek guidance from others, because you never know what new path might blossom for you.
Right.
Like
exactly.
you.
Yeah.
You opened yourself up to doing something different, and now look at where you're headed.
I have a lot of things that I have in mind. I'm also taking a class right now, a speech class. Yes, and I love my teacher.
Good. Well, and you know, I'm really glad that Virginia and I were able to get together and get in the Mustang, you know, after all of this. You know, I always keep my Mustang Monday episodes very generic and evergreen, but I don't think that we're ever going to be able to avoid the topic of the pandemic and being locked down.
Yeah.
No matter how many years in advance this particular episode gets played back.
I'll share with you a little story. So, on the 1st of January of last year, I came outside. My car was parked where I always park it over there. It was just covered. I am not kidding you. I've had one little droplet or two little droplets like everybody else, but no, the hood of my car was covered in bird poop.
Wow.
Yeah. So it wasn't one of those flesh. It was
no, it was like
yeah. And so there's some some beliefs attached to if you believe in certain things. I opened the door of my car and I just sat there, and it's just like this negative energy was all around me. And sure enough, not too long after that, we started hearing about the pandemic.
Right.
So yeah, and I'm getting cold as I'm saying this, but it was just a creepy feeling that I got, and I just couldn't pinpoint my finger on what it was. But the negative energy, the negative vibrations, I did feel that.
Right. Yeah. Well, you wouldn't be doing what you do with the 7 mystic rings if you didn't feel energies.
Right.
If you didn't have a connection.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that, and with that being said, I am so glad that we connected, because I'm kind of anxious to end this. You know why? Because now I get to go and experience.
No. We have 2 more books to talk
Two more books
about.
to share. Okay.
Yeah, otherwise,
All right,
Robbie won't forgive me.
Well, Robbie already has to like get in my car
I'll
now.
never
so
hear the end of it.
You'll never hear the end of it. All right, so share this one. Yes.
So this book is called "It's All About Showing Up," and the power is in the asking.
Power is in the asking. Yes.
Life is like a treasure map. The book is basically about the importance of showing up. You never know when you show up what's going to happen.
That's right.
And I'm huge on this because I know that my life changed 360 degrees when I went to a party 25 years ago and I met my husband. And it all started with a little business card, and that story is in which book? I think it's in this one.
So many books to share.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm at a book fair. This is awesome.
So, and it's also about the power is in the asking. So if we don't ask, we don't know.
Exactly.
There's so much in the power of the asking, because if you don't put it out there, then God and the universe are not going to know what you want. So always, always, always put out what you want. Focus on what your heart really wants to see happen. The changes your heart wants to see happen. And focus on what you want. Don't give energy to the wrong things. Don't give energy to the negative things. Flip it and focus on your dreams, on what you want to get out of life, and what God knows in his heart as well that you deserve.
Yes. No comment, because all I can do is just add to that. So, and that was beautiful. We talked about a minute ago, I asked you, so when somebody comes to see you for your services, what are they usually asking for?
So, it's mostly blockages. Blockages, karmic connections, releasing and letting go. That's my specialty. Sometimes they'll have questions about their past lives, if you believe in reincarnation. Sometimes they want to know what they need to do in this lifetime to help to move forward. Why do they have these blockages? And a lot of times our blockages have to do with limited beliefs, and those can be passed down from lineage through lineage, not only from this life but past lives.
Now, I like that way, the direction of that topic, because I've also done a lot of studying about that, whether it's past lives or lineage of your family. Even our DNA and our cells in our body.
Correct.
And we're not only just talking about woo-woo stuff. We're talking about some science as well.
Yeah. It's interesting because I get clients from all walks of life, clients who are middle of the road religious but not too religious. Then I get the real spiritual ones. And then sometimes I get people who are sort of in between, and they go to church every Sunday, and that's fine too. I believe in God, and I do go to church as well. So it all kind of intertwines. We're all connected through energy, through God and the universe. I don't think that God works by himself. No.
Well, okay, so here's I like to explain the scientific methods to my clients often too. And so what you do is basically you're feeling the energies, know, and you and I don't know how your process works. I'm about to find out, but you have a process with which you connect. Is that true?
Yes. So literally, I'll give you a quick little rundown of a session. I sage myself. I sage the area, and to be able to access that energy, I have to say a prayer. And I say the prayer 3 times. The first time it's out loud, and the second, third time in silence. In that prayer, God is included. So it's basically, I cannot do a session without that prayer. I will not do it, because it also provides me protection. And so in that prayer, God is mentioned. So it's basically sort of like asking God for permission to access that energy. If you ask me, what can you tell me about so-and-so? Unless it's something that is affecting you in your relationship with that person, I will not enter into somebody else's energy and ask questions that are not related to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because right, that's right. I get that. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So I have my.
Well, it's also and I look at this. This is the same kind of process in psychotherapy as well. I mean, I'm not saying it's the same. It's not even, but you have an ethics and you have a practice and you have a principle and you have a method.
Yeah.
You're not just you're not just like reading people at random as they come up.
No.
I bet you probably have to protect yourself a lot from
Yes,
that.
when I go to public places, I do pick up things from people, and just by walking by them, or sometimes even by being in the same room. But I try not to do that because it can be very draining. And I've been told by other colleagues that I'm very connected up there, and that I need to disconnect myself. I make a conscious effort to disconnect myself when to give myself a break, because there are times when I'm just really drained.
I bet. Yeah. And I can only relate to that as a psychotherapist. People ask me, it's like, well, are you psychoanalyzing everybody you talk to? No, come on. I know it's not occupational hazard, but I'm not doing it. Just like you're like, I can disconnect when I need to,
Yeah. My favorite clients are the ones who are the same vibration I'm in, and they find me in mysterious ways. And I just love them to death, because sometimes they'll be sitting on the other side of the table, and the session's coming to an end, and they just sit there and they don't want to leave.
They don't want to leave.
No, I think it's very cute. I mean,
yeah.
But and after they leave, sometimes I will continue. The energy lingers with me for about an hour, and I continue to receive messages. So yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well,
I love it. I love helping people.
Well, I'm gonna love that what we're about to do. So. All right, everybody. This is going to be a badass thing. I'm going to have to give a report later. I'm Kelly Orchard, the Badass Certifier, sitting here with Virginia Earl from 7 Mystic Rings and
Translations Unlimited.
Translations Unlimited of South America.
USA.
All right, and say it with me now. I always have this ending. It's like my tagline. So remember to be bold.
Be bold.
Be brave.
Be brave.
Be confident.
Be confident.
Be badass.
Absolutely.
Be badass.
Yes.
Be bold, be brave, be confident, be badass. If you enjoy these interviews, you can watch videos of Mustang Monday on Kelly's YouTube channel, too.
Thanks for listening and getting one step closer to being licensed to be badass. Be sure to subscribe to continue on the Bus to Badassville. Snag your Badass Habits ebook at licensed2bebadass.com. You can stay in the slow lane and get just enough tools for successful badassery, one podcast at a time. Or you can join the Badass Ambassador crew in the fast lane by checking your baggage with my Licensed to Be Badass integrated program with videos, worksheets, and group coaching for motivation, mindset, and a fresh approach to living a fruitfully badass life.